Shalom, 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 shalom. First and foremost, giving infinite praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh Ba'ashim El Shabbat Shem Hakodash. Giving double honors to our apostles and elders of great millstone, shalom and salutation to you sincere Akims across the four winds, pushing this truth for sincerity of heart. I'm your fellow servant, Kasama God from the DC camp, coming at you through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashim El Shabbat Shem Hakodash, the 50 elect. And in this video, Lord willing, this is going to be a quick one going into some news that I just seen recently, early this morning. And I just want to share this as with the rest of the hopeful elect out of the nation of Israel, so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans that are slated to be delivered. This should be bringing great joy to your heart, you know what I'm saying, as we continually to patiently await the return of our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, whom the world has ignorantly known as Jesus Christ, a strong so-called black man from the tribe of Judah. Now, this is straight out of the LA Times, and it says, faced with soaring D's and F's, schools are ditching the old way of grading. So basically what's going on now, you got an epidemic of failures, students failing classes. A lot of students are not graduating. A lot of students across not only LA, not only California, but across the U.S., the education has pretty much tanked. And this is really not a surprise to me because I've always felt like gone were the days when we went to school and, we still had some semblance of obedience and fear towards our parents, whether it be mother or father or both. And we also had like a sense of fear towards our teachers. When I came up, man, it wasn't a whole lot of, teachers fighting students like that. That wasn't really, it would happen once in a blue moon, you know what I'm saying? But it's not something that will happen as often as we've seen happen in the past 15, 20 years. Just on the emphasis on homeworks. I remember, just the majority of the struggles that I had with my grades was because I hated doing homeworks, but you knew you had to do that. So that kind of prevented you from always being out in times that you want to be out, So, but when you look at this generation that's come behind us, and it's just like, I've noticed that, like you drive around, you out and about 11 o'clock at night, as a grown man, and you see children 12 years old out about at 11 o'clock, and you like, well, when I came up, I didn't see that, you know what I'm saying? So even before I made this video, before I started shooting this video, I had just seen a couple of elementary school students. I think it was two Israelite young women. They looked to be about the age of 13, 14, and they was smoking weed, man. I think one of them might have been 13. The other one might have been, she looked like she was 14. I ain't gonna say that, man. Yeah, she looked like she was 14. They were between the age of 13 and 15. And, they were just chiefing hard as they were just walking with that dead look in their face. And I was thinking, man, how are they able to study? Like, there's no way they study the way we used to study. There's no way they grind the way we used to grind. I see these children being extremely disobedient to their parents. So they don't fear their parents. They don't fear their teachers to the extent that we used to. So I'm like, what's really making these children passing these classes? Like, how are they passing these courses like we did and keep graduating when the way they act, there is no way in hell somebody is making them study, and they don't have the will. So, but now it's coming out now that a lot of these grades, a lot of the ways they're being graded is different. And I'm sure now they most likely have damn near all their tests. I'm pretty sure right now 90% of their tests in these schools are open books. About 30% of the tests that we had were open books. 70% of the time you had to really just like study. You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense. And this is very important because the children are the future of a nation. And if the children are already dead and gone spiritually and mentally and intellectually, that tells you the land itself has no future. All right, so this says, a few years ago, high school teacher Joshua Moreno got fed up with his grading system, which had become a points game. Some students accumulated so many points early on that by the end of the term, they knew they didn't need to do more work and could still get an A. Wow. Often those who had to work or care for family members after school would fail to turn in their homework and fall so far behind they would just stop trying. It was literally inequitable, he said. As a teacher, you get frustrated because what you signed up for was for students to learn. And it just ended up being a conversation about points all the time. These days, the Alhambra High School English teacher, Alhambra High School English teacher has done away with points entirely. He no longer gives students homework and gives them multiple opportunities to improve essays and classwork. The goal is to base grades on what students are learning and remove behavior deadlines and remove behavior deadlines and how much work they do from the equation. The changes Moreno embraced are part of a growing trend in which educators are moving away from traditional point-driven grading systems, aiming to close large academic gaps among racial, ethnic, and economic groups. Well, which I mean, listen, the whole racial, ethnic thing, man. A lot of our children, man, are the nation of Israel, so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They're not gun ho when it comes to when it comes to the educational system, which is really ultimately good because the main way of indoctrination and brainwashing is through the European school system, the Western school system. You know, that's where you get the brainwashing. You're going to get your degree and all that. So you become really embedded into the image of the beast, right? But then you also have certain parts of the image of the beast that's more attractive, that's been more attractive to the nation of Israel, which is really athletics, sports, entertainment. And that's where a lot of our young men and women are going towards us. And you know, that still is a path that has led to us being still captive, still not getting any close to our nationality, to the awakening. And it's led to the downfall and the destruction of our people, okay? On all levels, spiritually, mentally, right? Economically, socially, right? So seeing the downfall of the educational system is proof, amongst many other things that's going on with the United States of America, aka the virgin daughter of Babylon, is proof that the nation is falling. All right, it's proof that the nation is falling. Look at what they have to do to try to save the future. But there is no saving the future, okay? Because America's time is up. Thus saith the Bible. Just like the ancient Rome had their time to rule, you know what I'm saying? And all these other races, all these other nations had their time to rule. America's time is up. And now you're seeing it in the educational system. Okay? So I'm not going to read the whole thing, all right, because it goes more into how they're trying to better the educational system, which is going to resort in failures because the social construct of the nation is going down. And when the economy collapses, it won't matter who goes to school and who doesn't. It's going to be about trades. It's going to be about gore. It's going to be about death and destruction and diseases and judgment. So the education is going to be put it's going to be put in the background. Okay. So that's just what happens when a society collapses. Nobody cares about who's going to school and who's not going to school. It's just going to be about survival because of the total chaos. All right. So let's get some precepts. First, going into what I was talking about with these children, this generation of monsters, you know what I'm saying, that for some reason you're trying to tell me these monsters are going to school, sitting in a desk and studying and listening to their teachers when they don't even listen to their parents. This is Matthew 15:4. It says, "For the Most High commanded, saying, honor thy father and mother." And that's a law. All right, that's part of the law, statutes, commandments. Honor thy father and mother. And he that curseth father and mother, let him die to death. And we've seen that. It's happened so often in this society, and it's so prevalent amongst our people to see the children turn around and just curse out their mothers, curse out especially the father. You know, the father gets it worse. Because, you know, when you cuss your mother out, you're liable to get your ass whooped by a neighbor or whatever, because the woman worship is that strong, you know. But still, you have individuals that do curse their mothers. But the father it's green light, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, America's done a good job to brainwashing our women and our children into having hatred towards the father, which brings about that division between the Israelite man and the Israelite woman. So let me see. So now the next precept I had was Sirach 16:1. It says, desire not a multitude of unprofitable children, neither delight in ungodly sons. All right. And the majority of these children here, although you see them as children, they're also being reincarnated. Formerly grown men several times upon the earth, they've been reincarnated in this time and age to be children, right? And most of them are going to be destroyed for their past actions, their past deeds, and the fact that the blood of the Lamb, Yahushua, does not cover them. Okay. Although they thought they were born to be a future to this place, they actually were born to be destroyed and to be judged. Okay? It says, though they multiply, rejoice not in them, except the fear of the Lord, except the fear of the Lord be with them. And most of these children are what? They into the the LBGT thing. They into this thing about being binary and all this. They dabble into all of that stuff. All of these youngins, you see them, all these youngins, they, especially the women, because the boys is kind of hard, because the boys this is still a lot of anti, homo and energy, but when it comes to the females, damn near all the young females are bisexual, if they're not, they've tried, they've dabbled into it, or they go back and forth, like that's just what it is. So this generation has no future. Okay, you can't tell me these generations going to school studying when they got all these spirits, these demons on them. You know what I'm saying? That's constantly trying to feed lust into their flesh. It says, because I know one thing we know about lust, man, you can't study, you can't study when you have, when you got heavy lust in your flesh. Even us in this truth, we've been in those phases where you're like, nah, man, like right now ain't the time, it's time for something else. Because you're trying to read, you can't focus. How much more of these children out here that are totally open, to these principalities and have no idea, and then they're part of a society that pushes that. That pushes them to be in that state of mind, that state of disobedience, so they can stir up the wrath of Yahweh Ba'Shem El Shah. Verse 3, trust not thou in their life, neither respect their multitude, for one that is just is better than 1,000, and better it is to die without children than to have them that are ungodly. Right, because you got a lot of jakes, a lot of Israelite women and men, they want to have a bunch of children because they believe, hey, they may want to have 6 children. They already know maybe 2 or 3 are going to die in the streets. Another 2 probably going to get locked up. And maybe the other 2 or 1 might just break through. One might be an athlete. The other one might be a doctor. So they thinking, all right, let's play the numbers. And they put their future in these kids. But these kids are ungodly, and they're being brought up in a wicked and demonic society led by the devil that the Bible speaks of, Edom, Esau. Okay. That's why the men of the Lord have made the sacrifices that we've made. Don't get me wrong. Some of us do have children, but it ain't like we out here looking for children. But 9 times out of 10, when the men of the Lord have children, it really, they'll tell you, hey, man, it wasn't planned. It just happened. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. We grown. So it's like there's measures that you could do as far as like protection to not. But yeah, listen, hey, you know what I'm saying? It happens. But for the most part, that ain't what we doing. You know what I'm saying? Because we know the more seeds you have, the more difficult it's going to be, when the society collapses. Job chapter 27, verse 13. This is the portion of a wicked man with the Most High, and the heritage of oppressor, which they shall receive of the Almighty. If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. And that's what it is, that the offsprings are not satisfied with bread. The bread that they have here is their education. Our bread is this gospel, it's this truth. It's the word of Yahweh Ba'Shem El Shah, unfiltered truth. But the bread of this world is their education. You know what I'm saying? It's all built upon their education, their school system. You know what I'm saying? And the children are failing, man, because they're not excited to go and sit in the bench and being brainwashed and sit there. And, they want to be out fulfilling the lust of their flesh, which still also kind of plays into the whole image. You know what I'm saying? So it's just not working anymore. It says, if his children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. Those that remain of him shall be buried in death, and his widows shall not weep. All right, and this is Revelation chapter 14, verse 7, saying with a loud voice, fear the Most High and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Right? And it goes into her philosophies, which is a part of the school system. Okay? Throughout the entire world, I mean, the majority of the world's school system is a mirror of the westernized school system, educational system, which is to totally brainwash the nations into what? Going to the acceptance of the New World Order, right? The image of the beast, and then ultimately the mark of the beast, the MOTB, the RFID microchip. As far as us, what do we have to look for? Because the children are the future. You know what I'm saying? We really, hopefully, I'm part of the elect. We're part of the elect. You know what I'm saying? We're part of that number. We are those children. We are the future. And the children the children that do come out of our seed on this side will also be a part of the future. Right? But also the thing is, education, it's not that education is bad. It's just the type of education, because the educators to build up. So the type of education that you need, it has to be an education that's geared towards your nationality, that begins with your power, your creator, that teaches you your laws, statutes, and commandments, and how to carry yourself, right? That's what your education should be built on. This is the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 8, verse 5. For thou hast agreed to give ear and art willing to prophesy, for thou hast no longer space than only to live. O Lord, if thou suffer not thy servant, that we may pray before thee, and thou give us seed unto our heart. See, seed unto our heart, and culture to our understanding. And that's what we want. We want seed unto our heart, not these monsters out here. And then we want culture to our understanding, not some New World Order, degree-based witchcraft, pharmakia style education, man. Okay? It says, and culture to our understanding, that there may come fruit of it, real fruit. How shall each man live that is corrupt, who beareth the place of a man? Okay? And I'm going to finish with this. This is Sirach 26 and 19. It says, my son, keep the flower of thine age sound, and give not thy strength to strangers. And that's what we're doing. We not giving our strength to strangers. We're not sitting there talking about everybody that loves the Lord could make it. No, only the Israelites can make it. In particular, in this term, only the elect, the 1/3, 144,000. The heathens cannot be delivered. The heathens cannot go into the kingdom. The heathens will be enslaved by the nation of Israel. Okay? Verse 20, when thou hast gotten a fruitful possession through all the field, right? Sow it with thine own seed, trusting in the goodness of thy stock. So thy race, which thou leavest, shall be magnified, having the confidence of their good descent. And that's what it is. One of the reasons why we don't have confidence in our good descent is because the school system has not taught us of our past, or where we came from. Job 8 and 8 tells you to search what? Search for your fathers. But this educational system has not taught us that. Okay, it's taught us the search of the fathers of our enemies, and to look up to the fathers of our enemies, which enslaved us and gave us these names that we have. How can you then have real confidence? That's why you see the nation has no stability, and the nation is not rooted, because the nation knows that its forefathers that is going to learn about every damn day. It's not its real forefathers. It's the forefathers of what? Of their captors. How can you be confident on a man that you know is your captor, your oppressor. But you're forced to learn about his conquerors, his achievements that led to you, you know what I'm saying, being on your knees now and a slave for generations and generations. That's the reason why the men of the Lord, man, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahshua, we understand what our calling is, what our duty is. And that's why we won't stop. We won't stop until the name of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahshua is established on earth, until Yahweh shall come back and deliver us out of this place and establish us as the rulers, the righteous rulers of the earth and the entire universe. Call Halam La Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahshua, double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, salutation to you. Say Akim's calls for a win. Stay strong, stay faithful. Shalom.